Welcome to the Snagged Podcast. I'm Sarah Lizabeth, wedding mentor and educator. I created this podcast because after more than 20 years in the wedding industry and a lifetime of real life, I saw a gap that no checklist, timeline, or trend was filling. Planning a wedding is rarely about the wedding. It's about navigating expectations. It's about family dynamics, especially mothers and daughters. It's about learning how to make decisions together. It's about protecting your relationship while the pressure is loud. And it's about becoming someone new in the process. I've walked with couples through beautiful moments and really hard ones. I've watched joy and stress exist side by side, and I've lived enough life to know that the snags, the unexpected moments, the tension, the pauses are often where the most meaningful growth happens. This podcast exists to slow things down, to offer honest guidance around wedding planning, marriage, family, faith, and the season of life that shapes us. I'm not here to give you more advice. I'm here to mentor you through this season with clarity, compassion, and perspective. So let's step into today's episode together. If you're planning a wedding right now and you feel overwhelmed, but also a little ashamed that you feel overwhelmed, I want you to hear this first. There is nothing wrong with you. This season is loud. It comes with opinions, expectations, timelines, and the pressure that most people don't talk about until you're already in it. And here's what I've learned after 20 plus years in weddings and a lifetime of real living. Most people don't struggle because they're weak. They struggle because they're carrying more than they ever were meant to carry alone. This episode is not here to rush you forward. It's here to slow you down. Because before we talk about wedding planning or marriage or family or anything else that this season will cover, we need to talk about perspective and why the most meaningful guidance doesn't come from someone who's never struggled. It comes from someone who's walked through fire and came back out carrying a bucket of water. I've spent more than 20 years in the wedding industry, and I've been a wedding planner, a florist, a venue owner, and an educator. I've stood in ballrooms and barns, back hallways, and bridal suites. I've watched joy unfold, and I've watched stress quietly take over moments that were meant to be sacred. But here's the part people don't always see. While I was helping others plan beautiful weddings, my own life was unfolding in ways I never would have chosen. I walked through seasons of deep disappointment, through marriage that didn't turn out the way that I hoped, through rebuilding personally, professionally, and spiritually. There were seasons where I didn't feel like a mentor. I felt like a student. And if I'm honest, some of the most important lessons I teach now didn't come from weddings that went perfectly. They came from moments when the things just fell apart. From learning that you can do everything right, and I say that in quotes, and still need grace. From realizing that control doesn't equal peace. From understanding that God often does his deepest work in the places we least want him to go. That's why I don't speak from theory. I speak from experience, both the beautiful parts and the broken ones. And that's what this podcast is built on. If you're planning a wedding right now and it feels heavier than you expected, I want you to hear this. You're not behind and you're not doing it wrong. I created the Wedding Mentor for couples who want guidance through wedding planning that feels steady, grounded, and supportive, not overwhelming. Inside the mentorship, I help couples slow the process down, clarify what truly matters, and navigate decisions, boundaries, and expectations with confidence and care. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters with intention and peace. If you want support through this season, you can learn more at theweddingmentor.co. Now, let's get back to the episode. After years of watching couples plan weddings, one pattern became impossible to ignore. The couples who struggled the most weren't the ones with the small budgets or the simple weddings. They were the ones that carried unrealistic expectations, often not even of their own. Expectations from their family, from social media, from culture, from a version of themselves they felt pressure to live up to. And what broke my heart the most was watching people lose themselves in a season that was supposed to mark the beginning of a shared life. I started to realize something. Wedding planning wasn't the problem. Perspective was. Here's the first truth that I want to offer to you. Stress is not a requirement for something meaningful. Somewhere along the way, we accepted the lie that important seasons must be overwhelming for them to be valid. But meaning doesn't come from exhaustion. It comes from intention. When stress takes over wedding planning, it's usually not because couples care too much. It's because they care without clarity. Clarity acts like an anchor, and without it, everything pulls at you. This season isn't asking you to prove anything. It's asking you to choose what matters. The second truth is that the wedding reveals what's already there. The wedding doesn't create problems. It reveals patterns. How you handle pressure now, how you communicate now, how you navigate family expectations now. Those things don't magically change after the wedding. And it isn't something to fear, it's something to pay attention to. Because awareness is a gift. God doesn't reveal things to shame us. He reveals them to shape us. This season is an invitation. It's not a test. The third truth is guidance is different than advice. Advice, it's everywhere, y'all. Guidance is rare. Advice tells you what to do. Guidance helps you understand why. Advice adds noise. Guidance brings peace. I don't want to be another loud voice in your planning process. I want to be a steady one, the kind that reminds you to breathe, to pray, to step back and remember that your worth is not measured by a wedding day. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, I don't want this season to feel like survival, I want you to know something. You don't have to do this alone. I created the Wedding Mentor for couples who want structure without pressure, clarity without chaos, and support without judgment. I write love letters weekly for people walking through life's meaningful seasons, not just weddings. But even if you don't join me at theweddingmentor.co, my hope is that this podcast becomes a place where you feel steadied, where truth is spoken gently, where faith feels grounding, not heavy, where you are reminded that God is not in a hurry, even when our culture is. This season, we're choosing perspective over pressure. Because the people who help us most in life are rarely the ones who avoided the fire. They're the ones who walked through it and came back carrying the water. I'm Sarah Lizabeth, wedding mentor and educator, and I'm really glad you're here. Thank you for spending time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to follow or subscribe to this podcast. It will help more people find these conversations. And if you know someone who's planning a wedding or navigating a meaningful season of life, feel free to share this episode with them. If you'd like continued guidance, you can explore theweddingmentor.co or join my love letters, which are weekly reflections on weddings, relationships, faith, and life. I'm Sarah Lizabeth. Be gentle to yourself. Be honest, and remember, meaningful things don't need to be hurried. I'll see you next time.